Hello, I'm Eileen McHugh with the BBC News. Ukraine's previous Foreign Minister Pavlo Klimkin has contradicted claims by President Trump relating to the sacking of the country's former Prosecutor General. President Trump has alleged that the former US Vice President Joe Biden demanded that the prosecutor be sacked because he was investigating a company his son worked for. Mr. Trump is facing US impeachment proceedings over the case. Jonah Fisher reports from Kiev.
The problem for Donald Trump is that his claims relating to Joe and Hunter Biden in Ukraine have no evidence or credible voices supporting them. Pavlo Klimkin was Ukraine's foreign minister for the last 5 years, and in an interview with the BBC, he said it was clear back in 2016 that the country's prosecutor general was forced out because his offices were systemically corrupt and that his ouster had widespread international support.
A British-flagged tanker seized by Iran in July has been released after being held for more than 2 months. It was seized 2 weeks after an Iranian tanker was detained by Gibraltar. Jonathan Marcus reports.
A brief statement from the ship's owners, Stena Bulk, said that the vessel had left the port of Bandar Abbas heading for Dubai, where the crew will disembark and receive medical checks and a debriefing. The families of the crew members have been informed, and Stena is making arrangements for the repatriation of what it calls its valued seafarers at the earliest possible opportunity. The release of the Stena Impero brings to a close one small chapter in the rising tensions between Iran and the West, but this episode has been overshadowed by the recent attack on Saudi oil installations, which has driven tensions in the Gulf to a new level.
Election officials in Afghanistan say nearly half of ballot boxes are yet to be delivered to polling stations ahead of presidential elections on Saturday. There are also concerns that a rise in violence may deter voters. Martin Patience is in Kabul.
Here in the government-controlled areas in the capital, Kabul, I spoke to some voters and they said, yes, we are going to go out. And the reason we're going to go out is that it's our national duty. One man said to me, I know this election will probably be riddled with fraud, but I still think it's the best process to try and move this country forward. But outside of government-controlled areas, the Afghan government realises that security is so bad it's already shut down hundreds of polls. So I think all eyes will be on voter turnout, because that will be crucial as to whether or not this vote will actually be credible.
Rwanda has abolished more than 1,000 laws dating from the colonial era. The State Minister for Constitutional and Legal Affairs told Parliament it was a cause for shame that Rwanda was governed by laws enacted by colonisers. One law allowed the church to acquire significant amounts of land, which is in short supply in Rwanda. World News from the BBC. Brazilian police have searched the homes of directors of the state-controlled Banco do Brasil, who are suspected of involvement in a $48 million money laundering scheme. Prosecutors say the operation is part of a wider anti-corruption investigation known as Operation Car Wash. The UN Human Rights Council has voted to send a fact-finding mission to Venezuela to investigate reported human rights violations, including executions, disappearances and torture. The resolution was put forward by Venezuela's neighbours and backed by European countries. Imogen Foulkes reports.
Venezuela really did not want this vote passed and tried to dismiss those backing it as simply following the orders of Washington. But Venezuela's neighbours, Brazil and Peru, presented a stark picture of the humanitarian crisis they were witnessing firsthand as they try to support millions of Venezuelans who have fled. Add to that a bleak report by the UN Human Rights Commissioner, which detailed thousands of extrajudicial killings by Venezuelan security forces as part of a policy the UN believes to terrorise the population.
An official report has cleared an Indian doctor of negligence in the deaths of 60 children due to an alleged oxygen shortage in the state of Uttar Pradesh in 2017. Kapil Ahmed Khan was a junior doctor at a state-run hospital where hundreds of children were being treated for encephalitis when the tragedy occurred. Reports at that time said the hospital didn't have enough oxygen cylinders after bills went unpaid, but the local BJP-led government denied the accusations. A study has revealed that more than half of Europe's native tree species are at risk of extinction. The International Union for Conservation of Nature says 15% of them are critically endangered, just one step away from becoming extinct. And that's the latest BBC News.